Hello, my name is Am, and thank you once again for joining me today. This is a big moment. This is the final season of an incredible story, right? That's been going on for a long time. Now, of course, I haven't been there since the beginning, but I did jump on at some point, and I'm firmly in there. I'm a big fan of this. This story means quite a bit to me at this moment in time. So I'm doing my part. In exploring these episodes and treating each episode as something special, right? It's the last season. This is special. Every episode is special in that sense, right? But yeah, essentially, I do my best to go into as much as possible. So if that's your cup of tea, you've come to the right place. And before I get into the episode, if you're interested in full length for this episode, or maybe even early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. Please remember, it's just an option. It's an option for people who are looking for content beyond the scheduled content, right? And if you are interested, consider checking out the Patreon page and the different listings there. You'll find the link to the Patreon page in the pinned comment in the description, alongside links to the social media. I mean, the last episode ended on quite a cliffhanger. The devils of Paradis are here, as the Jaw Titan Galliard stated. Now, of course, I know his name isn't Galliard. I just like calling him Galliard, though. I just love the sound of that name. So let's get right into it then. I hope you enjoy. Why is my heart beating so hard right now, man? Oh, Pete-chan! Go on, give him a fight. Careful, Jean Boy. Whoa! This is new? Oh, that looks like the tree almost. He showed up. Oh, the commander is watching. Did he get to jump on him again? But hold up. This is insane. He actually showed up. Huh. Oh my god, this episode... That setup, though. It's about to be madness, isn't it? Oh! He managed something in time. Just like Eren made that Skeleton Titan. Whoa, this is like mesmerizing. There you go, Reiner. Whoa. Look at all this coloring, man. I'm loving it. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of purple here. Yeah. Wow. Falco. Hang in there, Reiner. You guys have to hang in there too. This is insane. Whoa. Oh, the Beast Titan theme. Whoa. Right. Same thing happened in the season 1 finale, right? But he showed that he can. Whoa, Eren has mastered it. I love that she can move around inside. This is a game changer. Love this music, man.
つまり補給線のない敵地のど真ん中で袋のネズミなわけ。 今頃マーレ軍がこの収容区を包囲している頃だから敵に退路はない。
That's the unknown. There might be support.
とにかく私たちはアッカーマーから戦士長を守ればいい。
He showed up. This is insane right now.
さすがピークちゃん
I love that
そ
line.
の通りだよ。エレン・イェーガーは俺の敵じゃない。まずはお前からだ。
Hate Joe.
出てこいよ、リヴァイ。時間がないんだろ。
Oh. Hold up.
マガト隊長
My God.
隊長広場の奥に
何をしている。大丈夫なのか。怪我は。
ありません。
ならば急いで。
Was Levi talking to...
ブラウン副長が広場の奥に。
Look at this. I think it's possible Levi wasn't talking to the other scouts when he said that. Survive.
おい。
Blonde hair. Whoa. That look on his face right before he did it? God of destruction.
超大型巨人だけ。戦士長、敵の総攻撃が来ます。
Hold up, come. And the Beast Titan is done just like that? I don't think so. I think he was talking to Zeke. Holy shit, it's... I think Heicho knows about Zeke. Sasha. Oh. Got... Last time. Oh my god. Okay, she's alive. Oh my god, the coloring in this episode is just phenomenal. That's from the season 3 finale, isn't it? The ending. Whoa. Armin. He just killed a lot of people. Now that sounded like... Is Jean gonna do it? Yeah, I was gonna... A mix of both, perhaps. My God. Oh. Oh, go on, Galliard. Give him a fight. Oh, he scratched it. That's new.
これがアギトの力か。なるほど。
Whoa.
体
So you can break the crystal or put a dent in it at least.
人の力があるのになんで
車力の巨人はそこまで頑丈じゃない。鎧の巨人と違う。
More so for endurance, right?
大勢の人がみんなエレン・イェーガーに殺されたんだよ。
Falco. Support. Ah, the beacons and the flares.
団長、光の道を確認いたしました。
Commander?
ここまでは作戦通り
Hanji-san.
さあ頼んだよおにゃんこぽん。
Onya.
ハンジさん。
低速低空で収容区に侵入。光の道に沿ってみんなを回収する。の飛行船が撃ち落とされてもね。まったく無茶を思いつくよ。エルヴィンの
Armin's plan?
取り憑かれたかい。
And Armin looking sharp.
やってほしいですよ。僕らに力をくださるのなら。
じゃあ来たぞ。ああ、時間通りだ。
Right on time. You're running out of time.
しまっ。
Oh no. Oh my god, is this it? Oh, he's gonna use the actual jaws? Oh, he's gonna do it! He's gonna take the Warhammer! Whoa. Is that enough? There it is. Oh, Laura's dead.
そして次は。
Whoa, he could have 4 Titans all of a sudden. Whoa.
うるさい。静かにしてくれ。頼む。静かに。
Whoa, that voice acting though. Pete Chan. Whoa. Wow. Phenomenal. That was... My heart's still beating so hard. Wow. Unreal. Whoa, that was quite a staggering experience. That's wow. You know, I feel like that is one of the most adequately titled episodes, Assault. And it resonates on so many different levels here. You know, as someone who just experienced it, it was an assault, a constant assault on the senses, right? It just built and it built. It never let up. And, you know, by the conclusion of it, it broke me. You know, it brought me to tears. And, you know, the voice acting here is just tremendous. It's phenomenal. You know, Gabby's voice actor, wow. You know, that was kind of like, you know, the tipping point. It broke me. And, you know, it was so visceral, right? And it's so moving and believable. And, you know, the lack of any, you know, type of background music or score in that moment is so effective, right? Because it really puts you there in that situation and lets you hear what Reiner might be hearing at that point in time. Again, once again, great directing. Now, it appears that Reiner is the last hope here. And earlier on, it really was starting to look like that his life force or his will to live is non-existent at this point in time, and that he is ready to move on. Yet the cries of these children that he cares for so much, these young Eldians, these young candidates that he cares for so much, their cries kind of pulled him back out of it, right? He just could not allow himself to give up, as he starts hearing their cries for help. And again, it was so effective. The voice acting is just top notch here. And in that sense, this even reminded me of Armin kind of helping Eren break out of that limbo state almost, right? In season 1, episode 12, I believe. That episode's come up, or that moment has come up in the discussions a few times now. Eren kind of breaking out of that. This situation reminded me of that. Reiner was just kind of somewhere else at this moment in time. And they kind of pulled him back out of it, just like Armin pulled Eren out of that. And look at this. All this time later, he might actually defend Marcel's brother, who is also the Jaw Titan, and he is in the process of being consumed, right? Back then, he had to run from the situation, or he ran from the situation, and Marcel did end up getting eaten or consumed by Ymir, who popped up out of the ground. All this time later, Marcel's brother, who is the Jaw Titan at the moment and finds himself in the same situation, Reiner might defend him. And, in that sense, he's already kind of delayed it, or he's distracted Eren from consuming the Jaw Titan. And, it was quite noticeable that Eren is quite surprised by this. He was not expecting this at all. This transformation. And you can see that it's not a complete transformation, right? He dug deep, and somehow he managed to transform, but this is all he can manage. And also perhaps him being without his full armor kind of is a great visual representation of his arc, right? This is the man underneath. Now, I'm not sure how much of a fight Reiner can put up at this point, but he's transformed, and he certainly got Eren's attention, right? He got the Attack Titan's attention, and kind of stopped him from immediately consuming the Jaw Titan, and that would have been the fourth, right? He would have collected 2 Titans in quick succession if Reiner doesn't transform there. So, wow. I mean, Eren. I'll get into that in a bit. A totally different section for Eren and the Attack Titan. But yeah, let's see how this plays out for Reiner. But going back to the episode as a whole, much like episode 5, this is masterfully crafted in every sense, right? The use of music is so important here, right? Or the manner it's used in is so important here, because at no point did it feel heroic, right? They bring in a lot of these iconic tracks from the past, right? A lot of standout music from season 1 as well, and at no point did anything seem heroic. It really played into that tragic nature of the situation, right? And one of the moments that's still just right there in front of me, in front of my eyes right now, is the Panzer Squad, the Cart Titan Panzer Squad, and Peak. Wow. I mean, they got decimated, and in that sense, this, as expected, this really raise the stakes even more, once even more characters of interest entered the conflict, or the battle, right, or the battle royale in this Act 2. And it reminded me of the Levi Squad getting decimated in the Forest of the Giant Trees, right? It had that same devastating feeling about it. And of course, the music that's accompanying that scene is the same one that plays during episode 5 of season 1, right, as Eren originally gets chomped after saving Armin. I really thought for a moment, I'm about to see the first major death, and they're really about to shock me here, or that Isayama-san is really about to shock me here and killing off Peak. Wow. Yeah, that was wow. Again, I've only seen the Panzer Squad, or the Panzer Unit, sorry, maybe a couple of times on screen, and even then it was so difficult to watch them die like that, right? And then to watch Pete get engulfed in flames, wow, that was. And the visual storytelling of this episode is just phenomenal. It really is a visual spectacle. From so many different angles, so many different aspects, right? I'll get into that, but some of the most stunning imagery of the entire series is present in this single episode, and a lot of it is haunting. It's a lot of haunting imagery, yet in some cases it's hauntingly beautiful, right? There is a dark beauty about some of these frames and some of these moments. In the same sense, Hannibal, and I'm speaking of the Mads Mikkelsen show, in the same sense that show's cinematography had this dark beauty about it. And, in terms of it being a visual spectacle, the art direction and, the art style and the phenomenal use of color. Oh my God, I'll get into that in a bit. But, in terms of the art style, I felt that a few of these shots actually felt like they were kind of so distinct, right? So much so that they felt like they were just different from most of the episode. And I'll get into a few of those shots, but, in terms of the phenomenal use of color, oh my God, effective use of color really can tap into raw emotions of the audience, right? The capacity is there to tap into these emotions or manipulate the emotions of an audience, just by the use of color or with the use of color. There is the possibility to stir some sort of intrinsic or primal reaction, right? And it can certainly be on a subconscious level as well. Before I go any further, there's got to be at least 10 shots or 10 frames from this episode that I would easily hang up on my wall. There's quite a prominent use of red throughout this episode, right? Or throughout some of these standout moments. And, you associate red with feelings like anger and danger, right? And aggression, rage, and war. And, red is used in those scenes of the Titan shifters inside the Titans, right? And you see red all around it. Now that's the flesh on the inside, but red is quite prominent. And of course, in those stunning shots of the Colossal Titan, right? Red is prominently featured, and then have a full section for Armin and the Colossal Titan. So I'll get into that a bit later. And going back to Peak arriving on the scene and the Panzer unit being on top of the Cart Titan, she showed up just in time to give Galliard some much needed backup here, because he was about to face a full-on assault, as depicted in that cliffhanger in episode 6, right? Now, as I expected, the moment she entered the field, or the moment she entered the battle, the stakes were raised instantly, right? For her, being in danger, and then of course, the scouts being in danger because of the Cart Titan being out here, and then this quite effective machine gun gear on top of the Cart Titan, right? And it was quite effective for a time, at least. And it's so much more so than anything else they had, right, to throw at the scouts. So, in that sense, her superior judgment was spot on once again, right? She decided that it's the best idea to outfit the Cart Titan with the Panzer unit machine guns, or the turrets. And yeah, it proved to be quite effective, right? Devastatingly effective. Again, for a time, right? Until they got decimated. Now, before I forget and move on, the ODM gear. In the last episode, it was clear that, the Marley soldiers, or Marley in general, had no idea or no understanding of this equipment, this gear. They were certainly bamboozled by it, right? Now, that takes me back to season 2, episode 1, the Beast Titan. In the conclusion of that episode, Zeke takes Mike's ODM gear, right? Now, it appears that he didn't really present it to the Marley military, right, or Marley in general. Like he didn't bring that back to them, did he? Because, like I said, they had no understanding of this equipment. So that right there, again, kind of puts another notch towards Zeke holding information back, right? Or holding, crucial information back from Marley. Now, near the opening of the episode, as Falco steps out of Reiner's protective armor titan hands, right? And Falco starts to take it all in, the chaos around him. There's this almost, I thought it was mesmerizing. It wasn't almost mesmerizing. I thought it was mesmerizing. It was the mix of, these scouts flying around, right? And it's like a mix of these tracking shots and this, new music. The mix of these two things just made for this mesmerizing scene, right? Of them flying around the Marley Titans, right? Beautiful scene, actually. And, in that sense, I really loved how they showed us a different perspective on things, right? On the ground level, you have Gabby, Falco, and Magath, right? And then up in the sky, you have the scouts, right? And the Marley Titans kind of jumping around. And then even higher up, from a totally different perspective, right? You have Armin as a Colossal Titan, and then later on through the Zeppelin or the blimp, right? So I loved how they gave us different perspectives. And, speaking of Falco, this is a beautiful human being, right? He has such a caring and lovely disposition about him, right? Like I said earlier, in earlier discussions, he's wise beyond his years, right? In that sense, he reminds me of young Armin, right? Full of heart. At this moment in time, he's perhaps the only one on the Marley side, Eldians, who completely understands or has a decent understanding of the current state Reiner is in, right? Mentally and physically. So yeah, I think they've done an adequate job of establishing Falco as the new heart of the story in this final season, right? And throughout the episode or in a few key moments as Gabby is asking about Reiner, Falco, he puts his opinion out there, right? He tries to tell her that, I think it's better to let Reiner, sit this one out. It's better to not bring him into this, or it's better to not drag him into this. And again, that's because he is the only one who knows Reiner's physical and mental state at this moment in time. And he's again, intelligent enough to know that at this moment in time, maybe it's not the right move to bring Reiner into this. That being said, by the by the conclusion of the episode, he does join Gabby in screaming out and yelling out to get Reiner's attention, because the situation becomes quite desperate, right? Desperate times, desperate measures, and he realized, okay, I need to assist Gabby here, and try to get Chief Brown. Though he also used Reiner, he just like Gabby was saying Reiner, Falco also joins in calling him Reiner, in this specific case at least. Since I'm already, in the beginning portion of the episode, let's get into it. Zeke Yeager. Episode by episode, he just continues to be absolutely fascinating, right? War is terrible, isn't it? I believe he said that in the first episode of this season. Now, how grand was that entrance, right? And the same music is playing that was playing at the end of the last episode as, Galliard is kind of getting swarmed from all angles. Now, that was quite a shocking sight. Now, I brought up the prospect of it being suspicious if he doesn't show up, but to actually see him show up, oh man, then things got real, right? Things got real all of a sudden the moment he shows up on scene, because it's firmly established that, him and Eren are in contact, yet the Beast Titan has now showed up. How he has a casual stroll, like he just kind of, slowly comes in. It instantly reminded me of, once again, season 2, episode 1, the Beast Titan, as Mike is on top of that roof, right? And he's kind of thinking about the Beast Titan, or I believe it was like an inner monologue as he's talking to himself or thinking to himself, and they show that as he steps slowly and casually just side to side, it instantly kind of took me back to that moment. But it was kind of heartbreaking to see Galliard's reaction, and I know his name's Porco, but I just like saying Galliard. So it was heartbreaking to see his reaction, because he you could tell that he firmly believed the tide is about to turn, right? Now that this devastating Beast Titan, the War Chief, is on the scene, has joined the battle, and you see the reaction of the Marley soldiers. Even they are quite happy to see the War Chief show up, to see the Beast Titan show up, right? They're quite relieved. So yeah, it's quite a fascinating dynamic, isn't it? On one side, they are incredibly proud of these Eldians that are Titans and part of their army. Yet, the treatment of the Eldians in Liberio and the other Eldians is, quite horrible, isn't it? Now, speaking of reactions, I think, like I mentioned, during the reaction itself, the commander's reaction to this should be noted. He isn't celebrating just yet. He was watching, right? He was certainly watching Zeke. And before I go any further, how about the commander, right? He continues to be such a fantastic character, right? And in this episode, you really get to see that he certainly he feels a responsibility towards these candidates and the warrior unit, right? And that he does care for them as human beings, right? Falco approaches him in a state of panic, trying to explain, what happened back there. He cuts him off, and he straight up asked him, "Are you all right? Are you hurt? Is everything okay?" And then later on, as Peak is in critical condition, he states, "Protect Peak." He didn't say protect the Cart Titan. He didn't consider her this asset to the Marley military, right? He considered her a human that has a name, and it's Peak, right? So you can see in this high risk situation, high tension situation, his true character is certainly on display here. And I say true character has been on display, but it's been on display since episode 1, really. I was able to see that this person is different, that this commander is different. Yes, he knows they're devil blood, right? Or they're the devils, these Eldians, yet he is open to collaborating. He is a mentor to people like Colt and these other candidates, and that he does feel a responsibility towards these candidates, these young children that are under his command in the warrior unit, right? One of the best new characters of the season, of this final season. And then, going back to the reactions to the Beast Titan showing up on the scene or entering the game or the field at this point in time, Levi Hitcho, his reaction, yeah, he wasn't fazed at all, right? Not one bit. And, once again, everything Zeke Yeager is saying should be noted or should be put under a magnifying glass, right? Because it could have a double meaning, right? At that point in time, he said, "Let none of them escape, kill them all," I believe. Now, he could be saying that to either side or both sides, right? And then you go to his nemesis, Levi Hitcho. He said, "Survive, don't die on me." Or I think it was the opposite. "Don't die on me, survive." Now, at first, I thought that might have been just to the scouts, right? And the Levi squad. But, a bit later on, after a few things that happened, right? A few interesting things, intriguing things that kind of happened out there. It appears that might have been something he was kind of referring to towards the Beast Titan or Zeke Yeager. Now let's address the elephant in the room and tackle that head on. It is perfectly staged. This is a staged extraction or a staged death, a fake death perhaps. But yeah, it's certainly staged. I mean, there are some telltale signs that really make this quite, clear. They cannot be ignored. And, the moment it became clear to me that Heicho himself is in on it is the moment he addresses Levi, right, openly. And actually, before I even get into that, before that, he said something quite interesting, right? Depending on how you interpret it. He said, Eren Yeager is not my enemy. And then, the moment he said that, I was kind of looking, I was looking to see the reactions of some of these people. Peak's reaction didn't change much, right? Because I suppose she didn't quite know the exact meaning of this. And then you see Galliard's reaction. He's quite shocked at this, right? Though he then followed up by saying someone else comes first. Now going back to Zeke openly addressing Levi, and saying, "Oh, someone else comes first." It cuts to a shot of Heicho holding a watch, right? And it's clear that he's holding off for a precise moment, a precise time, right? So as he's, checking out the watch, it goes back to the Beast Titan or Zeke Yeager, and this time it's inside, right? Within the Beast Titan, you see Zeke in his human form inside saying, before time runs out, or you're running out of time, right? And essentially, that meant, you have to make your move now, soon, because you are running out of time. And I think he meant, the Zeppelin or the blimp is going to show up soon, or, perhaps Armin, the Colossal Titan, is about to show up any moment now. So, I think that right there, I thought that's a wrap. I thought the moment this happened, this exchange, I think there's more than enough there that simply cannot be ignored at this moment in time. They are in cahoots. Levi Heicho is in on it, on this plan. And that is just insane, right? That is just insane. Now, up until this point, I firmly believe that, Zeke and Eren are in contact. I think that much has been quite clear. But it appears that Eren actually outlined everything. And then, him and Zeke have kind of come up with this plan, right? Or Zeke has come up with this plan and told Eren about it, and Eren outlined all of this in those letters he sent to the scouts, right? And it looks like Levi and Hanji agreed to this. Now, in terms of staging this, as I mentioned already, it could be a possible, fake death attempt, or staging a fake death here, or perhaps staging a kidnapping, perhaps they might take him as a hostage, or at least that's how Zeke wants it to come off, right? Again, it depends. Now, the interesting thing here is that the commander is watching, and you have to ask the question, is he going to buy this? Is he going to buy this? I don't know, man. I don't know. The commander is, he's not an easy one to fool, is he? And he already kind of had concerns about Zeke, right? And it is ridiculous how easily he was defeated, how easily the Beast Titan just goes down, given how devastatingly effective and ruthless he can be, right? If you go back to Season 3, Part 2 in Shiganshina, he is just terrifying, right? And he's devastatingly effective in his throwing abilities, right? Yet, even though he does attempt some, tosses of the debris earlier on, he's quite, ineffective. It appears that he didn't kill anyone, at least on screen, that is. So, there's that, surely the commander might notice this, how easily the Beast Titan was taken down. Now, of course, they have that distraction of the Colossal Titan, transforming, and everyone's attention is kind of on that for a moment in time. And then, of course, Heicho kind of springs into action. So, they can take that angle as well. Oh, he got the jump on Zeke Yeager or the Beast Titan or the War Chief, right? Because he was distracted by the transformation of the Colossal Titan. Again, it's just ridiculous how easily they took him down, right? And, the reason I think he might have been saying, survive, don't die on me, is because of this, right? Attacking him, or attacking the nape, and then, kind of blowing it up. He's essentially, putting it out there, hey, don't die on me now, survive this. So, yeah, I think it's right there. I think it's right there. It cannot be ignored. At this moment in time, I think there's more than enough information given to us, especially the you know, the watch. It's unmissable. And then him saying, "Oh, you're running out of time." They're in on it. You know, Heicho is in on it, on this elaborate plan of theirs. Or this elaborate plan Zeke might have put together, and then Eren, you know, kind of wrote to the scouts about it in his letters and explained it. And this is absolutely shocking, right? That like Levi Heicho is potentially, and there's a good chance he might be collaborating with Zeke Yeager, the Beast Titan. You know, someone he absolutely hates and despises and has promised to kill, right? So the only chance of something like this ever happening is if Zeke has offered something so enticing, or he's offering up ideas that are so enticing, or the possibilities that are so enticing, that even, you know, Heicho and the scouts, or, you know, Hanji in this case, cannot pass up, right? So it has to be something on that scale that they are able to, you know, kind of cease fire almost and collaborate on this plan of his. But, you know, one aspect of it that still, you know, does have me scratching my head is the fact that they are able to trust him, or trust him enough to, you know, collaborate on this scheme of his, or this, you know, plan of his to stage this perhaps fake death or hostage taking situation, this extraction. Now, is this the type of trust you can have just from a few letters Eren sent them? And Eren happens to be kind of rogue, or he did go rogue, right? He was on his own. That was a thing that's been clear now, that he's doing these things on his own, and then he does end up filling them in through these letters. So I don't know if that's the type of trust you can have in Zeke, you know, just because Eren explained it in a letter. So I feel like there might be more to the Zeke Yeager angle here, or the collaboration, the potential collaboration that I don't know about yet. But the one thing that is certain, in my opinion at least, is that it's been clear that Eren has been out here on his own, and he's been doing his own thing, right? And he did fill the scouts in about his plans, and that he plans on doing this, right? At the Liberio, you know, theater production of Lord Tiber, and, you know, and perhaps he even outlines Zeke's motives or his ideas. Essentially everything that is happening in this episode, on the scouts end, is because Eren put this plan of action into motion. So they kind of had to spring into action, right? Since Eren took action. So this is all happening because of Eren. Now, you know, as exciting as it is to have Zeke potentially kind of, you know, play the double agent, and now he might be with the scouts and Eren as they perhaps head back to Paradis, right, after this potential extraction, though it's not done just yet, right? There's still quite a bit that needs to happen before they could potentially even get out of here. Now, it's been clear that Zeke and Eren have been in contact for some time now, right? That's for sure. These two have been talking, and that's one of the most exciting parts of this season, right? Getting to hopefully see the things they've talked about and said to each other at some point, you know, maybe through flashbacks. Now, you know, again, they've established that Zeke has no malice towards his younger brother, Eren Yeager, and that, you know, especially given the fact that Eren happens to hold the founding Titan, right, and Zeke himself happens to be a Titan, Titan shifter of royal blood, so that is the perfect match, right? Now, that being said, I don't know his thoughts on the other Eldians from Paradis, right? These other people that Eren considers family, you know, the scouts and Levi squad, specifically Levi squad, right? And the 104th, and Hanji and all those people. So yeah, you know, as exciting as it is, I still don't know. He's still quite a mysterious figure, Zeke. You know, there's still so many unknowns about him, and you know, and his motives are not clear at this point in time. So again, But then that being said, there's people like Levi who clearly isn't going to just trust Zeke, right? And just count him in as this new member. Of course, he's going to keep an eye on him. The other scouts are not going to just trust him all of a sudden, right? Especially given the fact that the things I brought up, right, in the last discussion and the discussions before, they know him as this, ruthless beast titan who decimated a lot of the scouts, right, or most of the scouts, and the late great Commander Smith. So yeah, I suppose both sides being cautious is perhaps the best approach here, if indeed this is the case and Zeke has pulled this off, right, and that he has successfully staged this potential kidnapping or hostage taking situation or a fake death, right? Now I think it's time to move on to Eren. Yeah. How do you even begin to understand what this individual has gone through, right? Or is going through, or is experiencing at the moment, right? And has experienced in these last few years, and they depicted a distinct change happening once he started, experiencing these memories, as depicted in episode 21 of season 3, right? Attack Titan. His demeanor completely changed once he has access to these memories all of a sudden, and that he is reliving these memories as his own father, and then he has Eren Kruger, right? And then, of course, that continues into the finale of season 3, even more so after he comes in contact with Historia, right? And then you see him at the beach. He's at his most detached at that moment in time. Quite a drastic change in his demeanor in those last few episodes of season 3. So yeah, it's tough to know how things have played out in these last few years for him, right? Now, he's become quite the impressive specimen, right? He is in complete control of mind and body. Everything feels like a calculated move now, right? He's cold and ruthless and laser focused on the task at hand. There's this chilling brutality about his actions, yet it's so concise, isn't it? He certainly mastered the transformation. He's able to transform into a full strength Attack Titan multiple times in quick succession. And he stated that he has plenty more, right? As opposed to, season 3, episode 1 experiments, by the time he's like second or third time, transforming into the Attack Titan, it's quite, it's not the same, is it? It's not the full strength Attack Titan, but now, he's able to do this multiple times, and he's saying that he can keep going on after this. Now, see, that does beg the question, how did he achieve this level of mastery over it, right? What's the source of this immense energy and endurance, which he still has plenty of, according to him. And I believe him. I certainly believe him, right? So, like I said, a lot can happen in 3 years, and a lot seems to have happened in 3 years' time. He has this mastery over this, right? And you can see how frustrating it is for the other side. You see Galliard was not excited about this prospect, even after this intense battle, right? Eren is still able to just, quickly transform into a full strength Attack Titan. And, I just mentioned that he has this brutality about his actions, right? A chilling brutality about his actions, yet it's so concise. And you get to see that, right? You see the precision of his actions depicted as he rips apart the Jaw Titan, right? He dismembers him limb by limb, and then grabs him and proceeds to utilize him as this massive jawbreaker for the, crystal enclosure. Now, before I continue on that point, I kind of need to jump to the Warhammer Titan, Lara Tiber. Now, she was able to use the Warhammer Titan from within the crystal enclosure, right? Within the safety of the enclosure. And she was able to create these hardened shapes from within. Now, the really interesting thing here is, the shape she created. It kind of sprouted into this tree that kind of goes through the Attack Titan, right? Through Eren Yeager. And, it's quite a familiar shape because, they do depict this shape in the ending, right? As they show the founder Ymir. So, again, I think there's some interesting visual symbolism going on here. the branches going through the coordinate, right? Eren, that is, and spreading out beyond him, right? Now, the Warhammer Titan really is quite special. And Eren Yeager now has it in his possession. It's not part of him, right? All of these incredible capabilities are in Eren's or at Eren's disposal at this point in time, alongside the memories of the past holders, right? Or at least the potential is there now. And of course, he has now kind of reunited or, matched up the Warhammer Titan and the Founding Titan, within the same person. And, again, going back to episode 5, they established that the Warhammer Titan and Karl Fritz, who was the holder of the Founding Titan, they kind of played a role in how things played out from that point on, right? In this agreement, this partnership. So I don't know if there's a possibility of something interesting happening here now that the Warhammer Titan and the Founding Titan are within the same person. But yeah, it certainly presents this really exciting opportunity of these memories of the past holders, right? And it'll be interesting to see if he actually uses the Warhammer Titan's ability to transform or manifest the Titan form outside of the nape, right? Like Lara Tiber was able to do, right? She was in that crystal enclosure, and she wasn't around, right, in the nape. So I don't know. Let's see how Eren kind of uses this Warhammer Titan. And I mean, if Eren wasn't already this formidable and devastatingly effective force of nature before this, he is now this unstoppable force, right? He is this god on earth. And he was this close to adding a fourth Titan to to himself, right? To have 4 Titans within one person or one body. So you can see that he has no plans of trying to get other scouts to take on Titans. Now, of course, all of this was possible because of this newly established specialty, right, of the Jaw Titan. The claws and the jaws are so powerful that they can even crack through this crystal enclosure, right? Now, Ymir had the Jaw Titan, but she was not trained as the Jaw Titan, right, like Galliard is or was. Mikasa even pointed out just how much quicker this Jaw Titan is, because again, it's been trained. Galliard has been trained, right? And besides, Ymir barely actually got to transform into her Titan form, right? She did. Now the thing is, she did have some sharp teeth after becoming the Jaw Titan, right? Even though the rest of her Titan pretty much looked the same, right? But she had no chance to transform, or no reason to transform for the most part. She was trying to hide that aspect of her self, right? For the most part, until she had to, protect Historia. Now, could this newly discovered specialty potentially play a part with another long-standing crystal enclosure, right? Annie. They finally presented something on that front, right? Up until this point, Annie is just out there stuck in this crystal enclosure, right? There's actually just nothing to do about it. Yet now they've established that there is a chance to get her out of there, right? Of course, it requires the Jaw Titan, and Eren was kind of close, right, to consuming the Jaw Titan, yet Reiner stepped in right at the last moment there. Now, jumping back to the original point, there's this really dark moment, and it's one of the many haunting moments of the episode, as I mentioned earlier. It didn't feel like a heroic moment, and I'm talking of him, or I'm speaking of him, dismembering this the Jaw Titan, limb by limb, right? And it's quite a jarring sight. It's quite unsettling, right? You see Mikasa's reaction, and perhaps she's thinking about, what Eren has potentially become at this point in time, or changed into, right? And Galliard's plea, please stop. Stop this. He's so helpless as he's being used to obtain the Warhammer Titan, right? And that he was going to be next. In that sense, it's so reminiscent of Eren saying stop as Hannes is taking him and Mikasa out of that situation in episode 1, right? He's saying stop as the smiling Titan, Dinah Fritz, is about to eat his mother, right? And then you see the contrast of Lara Tiber inside the crystal enclosure. She's not able to do anything pretty much, right? She's kind of frozen in there, so she doesn't have any reaction to this. Essentially she's not able to react to her imminent death at all, right? Now, the moment the enclosure does crack and subsequently kill the lovely Lara Tiber, gone too soon, in my opinion, that scene of the attack Titan gulping down the blood, right? And essentially the spinal fluid, again, didn't feel like a heroic moment, did it? It's quite a dark moment. It's quite a haunting moment. Almost felt like a bloodlust being quenched. Now, of course, in doing this, he has also taken something as immense as the Warhammer Titan from the enemy, or his enemy in this case. Again, it's all relative. So yeah, he's taken that, and he was in the process of taking yet another Titan from his enemy, the Jaw Titan. So yeah, I'm excited to see how he actually makes use of this newfound ability of his, right? Or newly obtained ability of the Warhammer Titan. And if he can maybe make use of it almost instantly, right? Right then and there. Let's see, man. It's quite exciting, and it's again, Eren is this unstoppable force at this point in time. This god. All right, man. Let's move on to Armin. Enter the reluctant god of destruction. This is quite the introduction to the new Colossal Titan. Imagine being Armin, right? You've had this dream about reaching the sea and going beyond the sea to explore new lands and take in the beauty of this world, right? You've had this dream for so long, and then reality hits, right? And then there is reality. Armin did eventually end up crossing the sea, but he crossed it and he ended up killing tens of thousands of people, right? Even more than that. I think they mentioned the naval fleet is 30,000 strong. And, in addition to that, innocent people, right, in the area. And right as he begins to transform, he has that look on his face, doesn't he? That similar look Bertolt had back in season 2 episode 6, the reluctant transformation, right? And the effects of the new transformation are just devastating, just absolutely decimated their naval fleet, right? And set them back years maybe on that front. And how about that crater the explosion created, right? That was just immense, the scale of that, and the two shots that follow are just staggering. Even, and this is the art style I was mentioning in the beginning of the discussion. Even the art style looked different for these two shots. It had that unique old anime look, perhaps. And the first shot is, you see part of the crater, and then you see just the carnage and destruction around it. I thought that had such a unique art style, right? And then the next shot of the Colossal Titan standing there within the crater, it just created, right? The devastation is unavoidable at this point in time. It's all around him. And even that shot, he almost kind of looked like this alien type presence out in like space or on Mars or a different planet, right? And again, the use of color is just so effective here, right? The use of red is so effective in this case. And it is one of those haunting images I spoke of earlier, yet there is a sort of dark beauty about that shot, for me at least, in my opinion. These two shots made it seem like he wasn't even on Earth anymore. And you see the pain in his face, I think. It's quite the tragic moment. And this decimated landscape and this eerie silence, it really does allow him that introspective moment, doesn't it? As he takes it all in, and are these the types of sights you saw, Bertolt? And now, think back to season 3, episode 1, or part 1, right? How he felt after, killing that Kenny squad member in order to save Jean, right? Remember how traumatized he was and how much it affected him? Look at him now, right? This is what he has to do now, or has done now, right? And again, like I mentioned a bit earlier, all of these things have played out because Eren decided to go through with his plan of action, right? So the scouts kind of had to jump in at that point in time. And then, of course, a bit later on, there's another appearance aboard the Zeppelin. And, for some strange reason, I just didn't realize that he was attaching or latching on to it as it passed above him, right? As he exited the Colossal Titan. I mean, I heard the noise. I heard the Zeppelin. I pointed out it sounded like a blimp. Or I was trying to point out, it kind of sounds like a blimp. But I don't know why. I just kind of missed that. That he is kind of, latching onto it as it's about to pass above him. Now, this also served as a reintroduction to the commander of the scouts, Hanji-san, right? So that's such a pleasant surprise and a pleasant sight, of course. And also the fact that they are in a Zeppelin, which is meant to be this extraction for the scouts, right? That right there confirms that indeed they have alliances or partners in this endeavor, right? And of course, this pilot is a new character, and of course, they don't know how to pilot this, so he's the pilot here, and clearly he's not from Haizuru or the same place as Lady Kiyomi. So this establishes that there are others who are sympathetic towards Paradis, beyond Lady Kiyomi. And her people, perhaps. So this really is incredible. It appears that a lot did end up happening in that 3 years time span, that a lot can happen in that type of time span, right? And of course, in the mid-episode card, they confirmed that semi-automatic pistols and the ability to fire shells was previously unavailable with the island's technology, right? So clearly, they've been outfitted, they've been given new equipment or given a chance to develop new equipment, right? Through outside resources or help. And as Hanji stated, the Zeppelin extraction mission was Armin's idea, right? Armin's bold, crazy idea, according to Hanji. She drew comparisons to the late great Commander Smith, right? And she said, "Oh, did you get possessed by him?" And Armin certainly took that as a good sign. But yeah, this potential reunion with Eren might be quite interesting. Mikasa reuniting with Eren played out pretty much as I expected, right? But Armin and Eren seeing each other could be a bit different, right? This has the potential to be quite fascinating, because there's no chance Armin. I just don't think he wanted to take this kind of approach, right? To kill so many people as the Colossal Titan, that nuke going off essentially. And it was so much more immense and, greater in its range than Bertolt's explosion or nuke transformation. But again, I think it's kind of clear at this point that they're able to control it, right? And of course, maybe being in the sea or being in the water has an effect on that as well. I don't know enough about that, so I'm not really going to go into it, but that could play a part into this. And there's the other scouts as well. Jean, you see, Jean actually had one of those moments again, right? A moment of hesitation, and he knows just how much these moments of hesitation can cost you, right? So he does end up firing it, but he does have a split second of hesitation, and then he starts questioning himself. Did I hesitate because of this child or this kid that's in front of me, right? What's the reason, right? So you can see that, and I mentioned this in the last episode's discussion, that not all the scouts are on board, right? They of course, Flock made it clear, this is the approach. Eren is the devil, they should all follow. But yeah, clearly people like Jean are not about this approach at all. They want a minimum civilian casualties. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how they all react to Eren, right? At this moment in time, only Mikasa has been in direct contact, after reuniting with Eren. So again, a lot still needs to happen before they can all kind of meet up again, potentially in that Zeppelin on this extraction. The scouts, they are just so phenomenal out there. They are so impressive out there. As a unit, they've become devastatingly effective in executing these operations, right? And you see through Sasha's demeanor once again, again, that goofy nature isn't there, right? She's laser focused, and she's quite devastatingly effective, right, in her shooting abilities, right? She took that one guy out from the Panzer unit Carlo, I believe his name was, headshot. And then, of course, that was the beginning of the end for the Panzer unit. They got decimated one by one. And Jean, of course, he stepped in as well. And he said, this is for all that time ago in Shiganshina, right? As Peak was effectively able to rescue Reiner as well. And, I remember Jean being really annoyed with himself, right? That he let this happen. This moment of hesitation let that happen. And now he kind of gets back at the Cart Titan. And then in addition to the Cart Titan, the Panzer unit. And, even though they've only been on screen a few times, like I said earlier, I did feel bad for them. I really did. And you see that they had quite a connection as well. You see photos inside of the gear. I've been calling it the bunker, I guess. So yeah, it was kind of sad to see them get decimated like that. I even started feeling bad for that one guy. Right, the asshole who kind of triggered the soldiers that have the PTSD. It's so effective here. The identity crisis here, from an audience standpoint, or at least I can only speak for myself. It actually got to a point that I didn't even want this guy to die, right? Because he was kind of looking after Falco and Gabby at that moment in time, and he reminded me of Hannes in that sense. Even though I firmly said he'll get his at some point. Yeah, I found myself hoping that, since he is with Falco and Gabby, that even he kind of survives this. And then, of course, you see Peak. Peak-chan is in critical condition, right? She's not able to heal back in time, or heal enough, or quick enough, right? So she's definitely out of the conflict, right? She's definitely out of the fight. But, thankfully she's not dead. Right? At one moment in time, it did appear like she could be the first major death. And, I think I just kind of remembered going back to the beginning of the episode as Peak and the Panzer unit kind of, show up on the scene. There's that moment of Jean kind of, trying to get out of there. He crashes into an apartment building room again, right? And that was so reminiscent of season 1, early season 1, as this is around the time they still don't know that this new rogue Titan is actually Eren, right? And I remember Jean being stuck in this room. Now, another really exciting prospect here is finding out how exactly, they came into this alliance and how they partnered up, right? So, if it wasn't clear before that, there's more than enough reason to go back and, show us how things played out in those years through flashbacks. Now it's, even more so than before, right? The need or the urge for those flashbacks, for me at least, I'm dying to see how it played out in those 3 years. Now, as always, if I miss something, I'll, bring it into the next episode's discussion. Again, this is the final season, and I really do want to talk about everything there is to focus on, or everything there is to extract from this. It's a big moment. This kind of thing doesn't happen often, right? The final season of a long running and, incredible story, a cultural phenomenon, right? So as I mentioned in the intro, I do want to continue exploring these episodes as much as possible, right? And extracting as much as possible, because there is so much to get out of these episodes, right? Right then, I think that's about it. If you enjoyed it, consider dropping a like. It only takes a split second, and you'll be helping the channel, and you'll be helping this get noticed by even more Shingeki fans, and helping, get this out there. Consider dropping some comments. Give me your thoughts. And, if you are new and you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. If you're interested in full length for this episode, or maybe even early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. Please remember, it's just an option. It's an additional option to anyone who might be interested in additional content beyond the scheduled content, right? So if you're interested in that, consider checking out the different listings there, and you'll find the link to the Patreon page in the description and the pinned comment, alongside links to my social media. And of course, the pinned comment also serves for updates. If I need to update anything, I'll update the pinned comment. Right, that's about it for this one. Once again, thank you for your time. I know there's a lot of Shingeki content out there, so thank you for checking this out. Thank you for giving me your time, and I hope to see you again soon. Until then, take it easy.